What's up and welcome. This is me, you, and Switch 2. I am me, Tom Tate, and you are you. So let's talk about Switch 2. This is the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch 2 news, brought to you every Tuesday and Friday in 5 to 10 minute snackable episodes. Try to keep things brief around here. Today is Friday. It is October 17th. I can't believe this month is flying by. I hope that you're having a good week. I'm super happy it's Friday and the weekend is upon us. So hopefully you are in the same spot as well. The big news this week is the release of Pokemon Legends Z through A for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. This came out yesterday, Thursday, October 16th. I'm going to cover some early reviews and impressions of this game, but first we have some general Nintendo news that I thought was worth sharing. So first up, Nintendo has had a very lucrative run with their mobile games. I knew that they've been investing in mobile, but I didn't realize how lucrative it might have been. So this is from an article on Go Nintendo. In a breakdown from the game business, citing data from Sensor Tower, Nintendo has amassed $2.2 billion in revenue across 9 different games that have been released, not counting Pokemon Go. Leading the pack is Fire Emblem Heroes, which has pulled in a whopping $1.1 billion. This is crazy. Okay, so I think we should take this information with a grain of salt. I'm not sure how accurate the numbers are, and I'm also not sure how much money they actually pulled in after the app stores take their cuts, Apple and Google Play, and after the cost of development, and of course, keeping these games running, which some of them are not even running anymore. So pretty impressive numbers, though. I was very impressed by these numbers, a lot bigger than I would have guessed if you forced me to guess. And while we're on the topic of Nintendo mobile games, it's funny because I was actually thinking about this a few days ago. I just want to put this out into the ether because maybe it'll come true. I want to see Dragalia Lost, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, no microtransactions, none of the mobile gimmicks, none of that tomfoolery, actual physical controls. I think that game would be amazing. I played a little bit. I did not love touchscreen controls, but Dragalia Lost is an IP that I don't want to see disappear forever. Thank you. Also from Go Nintendo, Nintendo has reportedly asked suppliers to produce up to 25 million Switch 2 units by the end of March 2026, showing a lot of confidence in the demand for the console following its strong launch earlier this year. So according to sources cited by Bloomberg, Nintendo expects to sell around 20 million units this fiscal year, well above analyst projections of 17.6 million. So they're definitely looking to ramp up console production. I am happy to see that demand. It shows confidence in the platform. I'm still waiting, though, for the next big console selling game that's exclusive to Switch 2. I don't think it's Metroid, because Metroid will also be available on Switch 1. I don't think it's Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition. I don't think it's going to be Pokemon Z through A, as we'll talk about in this episode. So I'm just wondering, what is that next big console selling game going to be following the exclusives like Donkey Kong, Kirby Air Riders? I don't think it's going to be that either, right? So we'll have to wait and see what they announce for a spring release. I want to give a quick shout out before we get into Pokemon to Ball Pit. This is stylized Ball X Pit in the title. This was released this past week for Switch. There's not a unique Switch 2 version, but it is backwards compatible, so I wanted to call it out. This is a Survivors-like game, but with a breakout mechanic. So Breakout is this old game, I'm sure many of you have played it or seen it, where you control a little paddle at the bottom of the screen, and you hit a ball up and down to destroy bricks, walls of bricks. My favorite variant of this was actually Kirby's Block Ball for Game Boy. I played so much of that game, and it was fantastic. The scores for Ball Pit have been really good, so I wanted to bring this up. If you're looking for an addictive, kind of time filler type of game, similar to like a Balatro, Polygon, their title is Ball Pit Tickles My Lizard Brain with its eternal chaotic grind. What if Vampire Survivors, but Peggle? Game Informer gave it an 8.5. Nintendo Insider gave it a 9 out of 10. Nintendo Life gave it a 9 out of 10. Roland Ingram from Nintendo Life wrote, Ball Pit is a tremendous brew of so many ideas, it all to collapse under the confusion. However, it operates in such a perfect balance that it appeals both to the one more go instinct and to more cerebral planning and creativity. Nintendo World Report also gave it a high score, 9.5 out of 10. So I just wanted to call that out. It is also $14.99, so it's available digitally. I promise this isn't an ad. I didn't even play this game yet, but I'm definitely interested in picking it up. And it was the only other big release this week, kind of getting overshadowed by Pokemon, but I will drop the links to some of those reviews in the show notes. Okay, the real heart of this episode at 5 minutes in is Pokemon Legends Z through A. If you aren't familiar, this is the second game in the Legends series. The first was Pokemon Legends Arceus, which had you go back in time to the region that was featured in Diamond and Pearl. And in this game, you are interacting in Arceus, you were interacting with wild Pokemon in larger environments. Think more like Breath of the Wild than traditional Pokemon titles. Z through A is similar. It takes place in Lumiose City in the Kalos region from Pokemon X and Y. So technically, this is a sequel to X and Y, which was released in 2013 on the 3DS. Feels like a lifetime ago. A big change here is the battle system. I'm going to read this straight from Wikipedia so I get it right. As opposed to previous Pokemon games, which featured turn-based combat, Legends Z through A uses a real-time combat system that takes into account the positioning of the player character, their Pokemon, and the timing of used moves, and allows Pokemon to move around and dodge attacks while in battle. So for the first time, you're seeing Pokemon kind of moving around. It's definitely a different gameplay mechanic, and the trailers and the gameplay videos really do a good job of showing this in action. So the question is this game worth picking up? I mentioned on a previous episode, we are getting this game, but it'll be a Christmas gift for my 12-year-old who is super stoked. He plays the Pokemon card game on his phone. He has played many of the mainline titles over the past couple of years. So my hands-on impressions for this game will be too late to matter to make a decision now because I won't even be looking at this game until after Christmas. I read through about 8 to 10 reviews though, and the feedback is very mixed. The general consensus is that this game isn't perfect. So if you can get past that and you're a true Pokemon fan, it might hit the right spot for you. So Pokemon games really haven't been perfect for quite a while, I think, in my experience playing them and watching them be played. So no surprises here, but here are a few review highlights. VGC gave it one of the highest reviews, 5 out of 5 stars, and they wrote Pokemon Legends Z through A is a love letter to older fans that betters Arceus in every way. Lumiose is bright, vast, and teeming with Pokemon to catch. New battle system subverts expectations. Game Freak finally trusts fans with a more mature tone. The best orchestral Pokemon soundtrack ever. That's a pretty bold statement. And I could tell reading that review from VGC that the author of that review had some sentimental, nostalgic feelings for X and Y. So I'm not surprised they were excited to step back into a world that they were very affectionate about. Alana Hagues at Nintendo Life gave it a 7 out of 10, and she wrote, Pokemon Legends Z through A should be celebrated for its fabulous real-time combat and its largely smooth jump to the Switch 2. But in condensing things down to one single location, it loses part of the Pokemon magic that Arceus and many other entries managed to amplify. I'll forever find filling up my Pokédex fun, and for the Switch 2 generation, this is a good starting point for the franchise. But if the Legend series is to continue, it needs to recapture its personality and fuse that real-time system with a bit more freedom. Eurogamer gave it a 3 out of 5. What we have is a kind of proof of concept, but the concept is so good that you can't help but feel a little frustrated to be teased with it. Dexerto gave it mixed reviews, saying Pokemon Legends Z through A delivers fast, polished battles in Lumiose City, but limited exploration and shallow side content hold it back from being truly great. And then you have the Washington Post, who said, I have never played a game in this series with a world that felt this lifeless. So again, general mixed bag that I saw at the end of the day. This is a game that was primarily developed for Nintendo Switch 1, so let's definitely keep that in mind. It wasn't built for the new hardware in mind, even though the Switch 2 edition runs pretty well. I think if you're into Pokemon, if Pokemon is your thing and has been your thing for quite a while, this seems like a refreshing experience, at least until we get the next mainline title. It's available now for $59.99 on Switch 1. You can get the Switch 2 edition for $69.99 or with an upgrade pack that'll cost you $10 if you have the Switch 1 edition. Apparently, you can still buy Nintendo Switch game vouchers, which is an older thing, but it's still available. It allows you to get 2 eligible digital games on Nintendo Switch 1 for $100. I don't see why you couldn't then pay for the upgrade. Both the new Metroid and Pokemon Z3 are eligible. So if my math is correct, you could get Pokemon and Metroid for $100 and then buy their individual upgrade packs for $10 each, which will save you $20. So if you're looking to be frugal, you can do this, but you might want to confirm that you can upgrade these. I don't see why you wouldn't be, but you might want to double check. Okay, that's it for today. Are you picking up Pokemon or have you already started playing it? Let me know on Blue Sky. I am at Switch2Pod. That's Switch2Pod with the number 2. Thank you as always for your time and your attention. A quick rating or review helps me continue to grow the show. You could be like Meandering Mage or After the Fire and leave a written review, which I'll read on the show, or just give a star rating. Appreciate that too. A recommendation to a friend, family member, Discord community, or subreddit goes even further. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We're everywhere that you can find audio podcasts. Switch2pod.com for all the things. Much love. Now go play some games.